then, now. Forever. Together. And now, C4 Energy presents the WrestleMania 40 press conference.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to WrestleMania Sunday's post-event press conference. My name is Chris Legentil from our communications team. What a night here in Philadelphia. Hope you guys agree. Tonight at the press conference, we are going to introduce to you some new champions: Damian Priest, Bayley, and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, in that order. And then, of course, as always, we'll close with our Chief Content Officer, Paul Triple H Levesque. And with that, I will turn it over to our host, Byron Saxton. Byron?
Thank you so much, Chris. As you mentioned, an incredible evening here at WrestleMania Sunday. In fact, a main event, arguably one of the most impassioned, one of the most emotionally charged main events we have ever seen on what has been a championship landscape-changing night of WrestleMania. And one man responsible for that is a superstar who held his Money in the Bank contract for 10 long months before shocking the world and cashing that contract in on the then new champion, Drew McIntyre. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the new World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest.
What's up, everybody?
Thank you, Damian. As a reminder for our media members, if you have a question, raise your hand, state your name, and the media outlet you are affiliated with. Let's start off in the second row.
Adrian Hernandez with Odyssey Sports. Damian, congratulations. You become the first WWE World Champion of Puerto Rican descent in 50 years since Pedro Morales. Incredible. As a Puerto Riqueño, congratulations. And speaking of that, if you have a message to the island and all the Puerto Riqueños across the world, what's the message?
Esto fue para nosotros. I think everybody by now knows how proud I am and how adamant I am about cultural representation. I didn't do this alone. I think I had not just an island behind me, I had a whole culture. And it's one of the most proud things that I've accomplished is just being able to represent and getting people to represent their cultures no matter where they're from. So being now a representative of the WWE with this championship, I couldn't be prouder for my people. Gracias.
Third row.
Graham Matthews with Bleach Report. Damian, congrats on the victory and becoming the new World Heavyweight Champion. Obviously, we just saw Cody Rhodes also becoming the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Talk about opening the show, winning the World Championship, setting the tone for the rest of the night, and where you fit into this new era of WWE going forward. With all the eyes kind of being on Cody coming out of the show, how do you kind of remind people where your place in WWE is?
Where we're going, where we're headed, I have no idea. This new era in the company, I mean, everybody can feel it. Everybody can sense it. We're on a roller coaster, man. We don't know where we're headed. But this ride, it's gonna take a minute. Like we're cooking right now. Obviously, all our sellouts, the business that we're doing, the amount of eyeballs that are in the company. I mean, this is the hottest the business has ever been. Everybody obviously likes to compare us to the Attitude Era. Man, we're doing some things the Attitude Era would have dreamed of. And I'm proud to be one of the figureheads right now. With this, I solidify myself as one of the people that we're going to be looking at as to lead. And that's something that I'm humbled and proud of. So how do I keep myself here? the same thing I've been doing, just be better tomorrow than I was yesterday.
Front row.
Isa with Lucha Libre Online. Felicidades, campeón.
Gracias.
I just wanted to know if you can give us your thoughts on the last year of your career from starting Judgment Day last year at WrestleMania. You went to Puerto Rico, had that banger with Bad Bunny, winning tag team gold, winning Money in the Bank, and now this.
It's one of those things that's really hard to put into words. It's like, what's happening? Starting from, 2 years ago when we formed the Judgment Day, there was kind of an idea of using talent that can possibly be main eventers or have been main eventers, but they're just floating. And then it took off to a different direction, and I'll be honest, there was a moment that I wasn't sure it was going to work, and I thought I was done. I wasn't even sure I was going to still be here with the company, to be honest. And I don't know, it was just the addition, obviously, with Finn Balor and Rhea and then Dom, and now JD. I feel like all of our differences made something special, and all of us bringing out the best out of each other, and then flowing into Puerto Rico and that event, which I still to this day, to me, it was one of the most important matches of my career because the win or loss wasn't consequential. It was about representation and what we can do to show off the company in another country or in another, atmosphere, and it could be successful. And now you see with the business that we're doing in all these other countries. I mean, Australia was incredible. And then we flow into Money in the Bank, which was in London, and that was cool. But even still, you never know what's going to happen. And obviously, it took me a minute to cash in, but talk about one of the greatest, if not the greatest WrestleMania of all time, in a city where it was 20 minutes away from where I started my career. I did it in front of my father, my brothers, friends. One of the coolest moments of my life, and shout out to the Philadelphia crowd because they made that really special.
Damian Rajprasad from Uprock Sports. Seth Rollins over the last few months has really talked about this being the workhorse championship. How do you continue to live up to the expectations that come with what Seth Rollins has kind of developed for that championship?
Last year, I believe I was number 3 in most overall matches. If I'm not mistaken, I was number 1 on TV matches. I want to double. I'll double the amount of matches if I could. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't. The idea of this being the workhorse championship, bring it. That's what I want to do. I want it all. Obviously we know our champions' schedules change. When you're the guy, or one of the guys, or one of the girls, like a lot of is asked of you. Give me the questions. I would love to give the answers. So Seth set a precedent with this title, and it'd be disrespectful not to honor what he's done. And I'm one of the first guys to say thank you to what he did, when he brought another championship to a level that was important to the entire roster. And I plan to do it justice.
One last question for Damian Priest.
Joel Torres from Contralona. Felicidades, Boricua.
Gracias.
Nuevo campeón, new champ. In the past, we have talked, and you told me once that once you wanted to quit pro wrestling, you didn't want to, because stuff that you left. Now you're the world champion. What's that advice that you give to the newcomers that they can do the same thing that you've done?
About 10 years ago, I was homeless. Sitting in front of you as the world heavyweight champion in the WWE. Nobody thought I would be on this stage. And I even doubted myself. Then I decided one day to the next, just what am I doing with my life? If this is my dream, you should be the hardest worker for your own dream because it's yours, not nobody else's. I'm the example for people who don't know or they're not sure if they can achieve something. If I did it, literally anybody could achieve their stuff because, like I said, there was points that I had no business being here. But you bust your ass and you do everything in a positive way. I truly, truly believe that there's nothing you can't achieve. So for anybody out there that's not sure of something, look at what I just did at WrestleMania. Proud.
Damian, thank you so much, and congratulations on a life-changing achievement as the new World Heavyweight Champion. Well, speaking of achievements, our next guest defeated her former friend, her partner, and former mentee that, despite already having a Hall of Fame-worthy career here in WWE, made history by winning a women's championship for the first time in her career at a WrestleMania. Please welcome the new WWE Women's Champion, Bayley.
Role model.
I did it! I told you so. That's what my friend said. I'm gonna do it like. Wow. You guys like the new music? Get used to it. Here we go. Oh. Hey, Byron.
Hey, Bayley. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, let's open up the floor to questions, and we will start off in the fourth row.
Denise Salcedo, Instinct Culture. Bayley, congratulations. Right over here.
There you go.
Congratulations. I want to start off by asking you about the entire moment from making your entrance to going in, having the match, hearing the crowd be so behind you, and then winning and having this moment.
Wow, that's a lot. I didn't know what it was gonna be like. The crowd for one. I am newly friends with the crowd again, so I was concerned that some of them didn't forgive me for calling them idiots for so many years. Sometimes you guys were. I'm an idiot too. It's fine. It's fine. It happens. I wasn't sure how it was gonna be because Io is so incredibly talented, and it's hard to not cheer for her. She's so amazing, but she's a really bad friend. So I was very excited to hear that everyone still had my back after all these years. I truly think that my journey through the WWE these past 11 years we have cemented such a connection, myself and the fans and all of you guys. So coming out, I felt like, oh, finally. I think I did my job these last few years to show how much I care about this and how much I care that you guys care about this, So I felt very, very grateful. And right now I feel crazy. It feels like the weirdest dream. I feel like I just fantasy booked my whole life. Doing this, then watching The Rock and The Undertaker and John Cena, I was like, fantasy booked this whole thing.
Hi, Kristen Clark with AgeOfTheNerd.com. How are you?
I'm great.
Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
I was just curious, for this win, not only for you, but, how does it feel that this is a win for the fans as well? And especially, fans that are super happy, too, to see women, coming to the forefront in the WWE as well.
It really does feel like that. I feel that they have come along this new era with us. Like they wanted the change so much. I felt the change as soon as I came back from my injury. The first time at SummerSlam in that locker room, I felt that it was different. And that was just being in Hunter's presence. I felt everybody was excited for the future and had hope. And I think the fans have been feeling that too. And it's almost as if you guys you're doing this with us, coming along this ride. And even though there are disappointments and bumps, like not everything can be perfect, but that's part of the journey and part of the story. And I think you talk about like women's wrestling and everything. This girl right here, Jada Sparks, she's probably gonna freak out that I'm wearing this right now. This girl used to wait by where we like park the cars and wait for everybody to pull out, and she would have like Boston Hug custom shoes drawn, and when we were like tag team champions, and she would wait out every single time, whatever city that was. And now she's like wrestling on the indies and she's making a name for herself. One time I saw her as an extra, I'm like, this is nuts, but that used to be me, so it's just so real. Surreal and so real.
Hi, Bailey. Rick Ucchino, CageSideSeats.com. First off, congratulations. Last night, hearing Rhea Ripley talk after she defeated Becky Lynch, there was a lot of passing of the torch talk, so to speak, with Rhea and Bianca, and especially with Rhea's wins over Charlotte last year as well. Kind of like the four horsewomen needing to maybe step aside with all this talent that's here. Was tonight kind of a message like, nah, we ain't going nowhere?
I guess, I think Rhea is once in a lifetime. I get so jealous of her. First, I have so much respect for her because she works her butt off. She does everything. I mean, you guys see Judgment Day on every single show like 10 times throughout the night, and that is not easy and sometimes not always fun. It's very hard. So I have all the respect for the work she does. Plus, she puts on incredible matches. She'll be like, she's so young, so athletic. She does one drop kick, and I can't do a drop kick to someone's knees. It's like everything she does makes me mad. But I feel if as the time comes for the four horsewomen to lift the division up and get better and better as we wanted to do from the beginning, I'm glad that it's going to someone like Rhea Ripley, and it's going to somebody like Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan. There's so many. You got Zoe Starks. There's so many women that are itching to get out there. Candice LeRae is like finally showing her face out there. You got all the girls in NXT, Roxanne Perez, Lyra. This is exactly what we wanted. So if she's ready to take it on, I am very proud and I'm very glad to watch it happen. But let me have my damn moment, Rhea.
Third row.
Hi, Billy. Congratulations. Joe Biomonte here from Sport in the UK. Last year, Damage Control coming out of WrestleMania didn't feel like there was too much momentum with the group after the loss to Lita, Trish, and Becky. But then over the last 12 months, that seemed to completely change with this storyline as well, with you splitting from the group and then becoming such a prominent part of this year's event. What would you say was the turning point in the last year for you all?
Personally, I think we just had a weird. It was that whole experience was very humbling to me. I imagined creating a group. It was going to be so different, and the fans were going to love it, and it was just we were going to be dominating everything. But there was so much more that goes into it behind the scenes, and we had to work on our chemistry, like real life chemistry as friends, and share our goals with each other, like what we want out of this, so that we can help each other get there. And I think once we started ironing those things out and getting confident in ourselves and trusting each other, we started to feel better. Everybody started being themselves. We weren't trying to be professional. We were like, be able to hang out with your friends and put on the best work we can. Then Io won the title, and I think that was just like, we're on top of the world, There was a second part I was going to say, and I don't remember. But I think Io winning the title was definitely a shift change. Just hearing the reaction when like Dakota came in the ring there, I said, they do care about us. They do remember our moments. It's a long journey. I didn't think we would be here right now. I know what I was going to say. I talk a lot sometimes. I think I got time. To me, although Damage Control still took a loss last night, them coming out and getting an entrance, they had a little bit to their entrance. Dakota was on last year's, got hurt, still made it to this one. And then they came out tonight. So to me, Damage Control was on 2 nights of WrestleMania, and that's a win to me, although they both lost.
One final question.
Congratulations.
Emily May with Sportskeeda Wrestling.
Hello.
You mentioned, and throughout this whole week, there has been a mention of a new era, a Paul Levesque era. And we saw some returns tonight. We saw Brandy and we saw Stephanie McMahon. If you can speak to this new era as WWE Women's Champion and how these returns might affect that.
Well, I saw Stephanie in the back, and I thought that when I saw her at Hall of Fame, I didn't even get a chance to see her, but I was super excited to see her there. She's just such an awesome person to have around. She's so genuine and real. She takes care of you. She looks at you in your eyes when you're talking to her like she cares, you know? One time I saw the makeup people spill bobby pins on accident. She got on the floor and picked them all up. I was like, wow, she's incredible. But seeing her go out there and say the welcome to WrestleMania, to me, that was huge. That was like women could be in this position right now and can welcome the world to the biggest show in the world at the biggest WrestleMania ever. I feel insane that I'm a part of this at this time, at the hottest it's ever been. I do not take it for granted. I do not take it lightly. And I've known Stephanie for a long time. Seeing Brandy back there was really cool. I was sitting next to her as she's watching the main event. She's just like tapping her leg and like doing stuff. I had to rub her back. I was like, you got this. It's going to be okay. You can be okay. It's a very comforting feeling in the back, and that makes this so much better.
Bailey, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations. Enjoy your
Thank you,
championship
guys.
celebration tonight.
Hell yeah.
Well, the WrestleMania press conference is powered by C4 Energy, the official energy drink of WWE. Available everywhere energy is sold. Shop the newest flavor, Nectarine Guava Knockout, exclusively at Circle K. Well, ladies and gentlemen, very few times in history have we witnessed such groundswell support for one man's championship aspirations. But after a year of hard work, sacrifice, and some heartbreak, he ended the 1,316-day reign of Roman Reigns to finally finish his story. Please welcome the new WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
So, WrestleMania 40 press conference. What do you guys want to talk about?
On that note, our first question, we will head to right here, second row.
Hey, Cody, congratulations. Mike Hoppinger from ESPN.
Thank you.
You know, finished the story, but back in 1981, when your father, Dusty Rhodes, won his first title, the locker room kind of emptied out, right, when he defeated Ric Flair. And then tonight, you kind of enjoyed the same thing. Was that a purposeful callback to that moment?
If it was, maybe it wasn't purposeful in planning. Maybe it was just, I don't know, kismet, destiny. That's one of those moments. A lot of people had asked me, what's it going to feel like if you can beat the tribal chief, if you can beat Roman Reigns? And I really was honest when I said, I don't know. I don't know. I've never been in the end zone before, you know. I've been 1B. I've main evented shows. I've been able to be in the main event, but there's a difference between being in the main event and being the main event. Roman Reigns, obviously, he and I are not good friends, but that's the greatest championship reign in sports and entertainment. And as much as I don't agree with his style and the way he went about being a champion, perhaps, I still hope I can be half the champion that he was for WWE as a leader, as the quarterback. In the moment, I was so happy just to see my friends. You don't have a lot of friends in wrestling, and then you do, and they turn on you. Kevin Owens is a huge part of my journey. I wouldn't have been able to meet the guys I met that I needed to meet and do the things that we would do without him. Sammy was a huge part of my journey last year with the kind of budding rivalry between us heading towards, WrestleMania, and him having that opportunity at Elimination Chamber to see him. I didn't think I would see Randy just because he'd probably get on his bus. He's Randy. So to have the guy who took me under his wing and I got to watch be a champion, that was amazing. I drove Cena around for almost 2 years, learned everything I possibly could from him, but didn't know I was learning because we were just having such a good time. And there's nobody who carried WWE, until Roman, like John Cena, and for him to be out there, my family, LA Knight, just a lot of victims of the bloodline in a sense. There was that. I think more than anything, just circling back to what you asked, I think that was just the joy. There's a respect for Roman and the bloodline, no doubt, but nothing is bigger than the company, than the industry itself. And this was a win for the people, and certainly a win for me. Thank you for your question.
Cody, John Alba, writing for your hometown paper, the Marietta Daily Journal.
Oh my gosh.
They said you'd say and do anything for them, just for the record.
Well, so Andy McAlpine was the dude's name, and I was 16 the first time he wrote an article about me. He spelled my last name with 2 L's. And I was still blown away that I got to be in the paper. And then during that amateur wrestling run I had, Marietta Daily Journal was like a propaganda rag for me. They were all about me. So yes, anything.
Well, I know you said that you grew sick of the whole finish the story tagline over the year, but story goes so much further than creative. Fans have been following your journey for the past 20 years through your father, through your brother, through AEW, around the globe. What do you feel has resonated with people most about your journey, and how has that led to them forming that authentic connection with you?
It's a great question. I think sometimes it feels like it's a father-son story, which is something that, father-daughter, father-son, that a lot of people can see and relate to. But then if I'm truly being honest, I think it's a story of, as much as I had the legacy and I had the last name, I wasn't born with all the tools. My brother's 6'4". How pissed off I was when I stopped growing. My dad and my sister just had all this charisma, and I think people resonate, that works for them, like you can make it to the main event, you can make it to being the main event. I always wanted to be a winning franchise, if that makes any sense. And at my age and where I'm at in my career, I know that's not been the story. But I'm very proud of what the story has become. And you asked, why it resonates. Is the only answer I really know. Because it's real. I wanted to be this because at first he wasn't, and I thought he should have been. And then when he passed away, I failed. I didn't hand it to him. But it became about, I said this earlier, it was in the, the hype packages and stuff was playing. The story was beyond me at that point, and I still felt the need to finish it. I've been saying all week, I think I said it on First Take too, that even if I didn't believe, people believed. So I had to do it. I know this isn't what you asked at all, but something that I wanted to share. I came to the back and Bruce Pritchard and Triple H and Nick Khan handed me this, which is the same watch that my dad had, that he pawned so that I could go to acting school. So the level of investment and responsibility that the company just put in my hands, I hope I can pay it back, pay it forward 100 times over.
What's up, Cody? Jeff
man.
Johnson, House
Jeff.
of Highlights. You said yourself, when one story ends, an even better story begins. We've ended one of the greatest sagas in the history of WWE, which is the Bloodline saga. What is the new epilogue, the new narration for your story now as you've become the World Heavyweight Champion? What is this new story to you? How do you lead that?
I think one of the biggest fears I had coming into this, especially after WrestleMania 39, one of the biggest fears I had was if I did finish the story, if I did win, I would have nothing left. That it would literally have taken everything I've ever done, every match I've ever been involved with, every partner I've ever had, every bit of me it would take. And I can tell you, the moment Charles Robinson hit 3, I knew I have everything left to give still. I have a whole nother level. You've heard the former champion say all the time, there are levels to this. I just leveled up. And I think if you know me, you know that I'll owe it to the WWE fans, pro wrestling fans, WWE Universe, that what we do next has to be extremely special. I just heard Bailey talking about the industry, where it's at. I don't want that to end. I don't think any of us want that to end. And keeping that going forward takes the minds, takes the locker room, takes the leaders, takes the quarterback, and they just made me that. So we're in.
Hey, Cody, Liam Crowley, comicbook.com. 5 years ago, you cut what I think is one of the most impactful promos of this generation, and you declared about the 14 years it took you to go from undesirable to 5 years on from that. What do you call yourself now?
Oh, I think that's easy. Champion, right? What I wanted to call myself all along. And in a way, just to sidebar your question a little, I love that promo, but it's hard to follow. I kind of wish that it's hard to follow. And a lot of times my friends and my friends and family, they're all here. They always, I remember where I was with Charlotte. They're like, you got to do what you did in Charlotte. I'm like, man, You know, that magic sometimes is just magic. It just happens. But yeah, at that point I was undesirable, who had thought and felt that he had become undeniable. But again, wasn't a champion. Today, tonight, I'm a champion. Thank you.
Last question.
Cody, Chris Vanini from The Athletic and the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. I was going to ask you about the watch, but you revealed that. What was it like giving the belt to your mother and conversations with your family afterward?
One thing about my mom is my mom does not want to be on TV. She doesn't want to be, there she is. Hey, she doesn't want to be Mama Rhodes, and she's usually asleep during the show. All right. But I'll tell you something that she doesn't know this, but I'll never forget it. I was really worried when I didn't win at WrestleMania 39. The journey, the thought, how can I get back to WrestleMania 40 and do it all again? And I remember saying to her, I just want to be quarterback. And I remember she didn't mean it in any negative way, but how she slid right in as I said that. And she said, just one time. And when she said that, I realized that I was out of time. It was now or never. WrestleMania 39, like, it felt, this is the moment, this is it, this is the most obvious thing ever. No. What they asked me, what the challenge was, what the task was, I just heard, Mike The Miz, who I've known my whole career, tell me that was an incredible amount of pressure. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back here, but I feel like the gauntlet was laid down, and I was able to get through to the other side. And ultimately, the biggest challenge in front of me was the biggest movie star in the world, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Mr. Heyman, now a Hall of Famer. And of course, the Tribal Chief, a man who's on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling and sports entertainment, Roman Reigns. Man. I'm lost in all this, if that makes any sense. I am. I know Byron's going to say, okay, you got to go. But if I learned anything from my dad, when it's a good night, you don't want it to end. So with that thought, one more question.
Alistair McGeorge from the Metro, just over here in the UK. Well,
Hey.
I'm here in Philadelphia, not the UK. Anyway, you've just mentioned your dad, and
Yeah.
you said not being able to hand that title to him. What would you say to him with him looking down on you now?
That's a great question. If I'm being honest, I think I'd want to say to him that I hope I lived up to your name. And thank you for that name. And then I would say, sorry about the tattoo. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. Happy WrestleMania.
Ladies and gentlemen, your new WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Well, to cap off what has been an ultra-historical WrestleMania 40 weekend, we welcome the Chief Content Officer of WWE, Paul Triple H Levesque.
Thank you all for being here. Wow. This one's hard for me to wrap my head around. I don't even know where to start on it. Really don't. But let me get business out of the way first. Presenting sponsor of this press conference is C4 Energy, which has been a partner for us for, I don't know, about 3 years now. And I'm proud to announce that they are now the official energy drink of WWE, and they will be the co-presenting partner of SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio this year. So it's an amazing partnership. Really excited to do it, and have them help usher in this new time in WWE. So let me get the business off the table before I start trying to think and, I don't know, probably get emotional or something. You hear a lot of hyperbole coming into these things. Greatest WrestleMania of all time, biggest WrestleMania of all time. You know, we're going to do all this, we're going to do all that, we're going to shift the world, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times that stuff is said, and you humor it, and you move on. I do feel like after watching that, this was the biggest WrestleMania of all time. I really do. And when you break it down, I have spent the last 4 days getting text messages that say things like, we just, you know, here's where we're at 12 o'clock for the world or for merch sales or anything. And I'm like, let's say that was at 3 o'clock. It opened at 12 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, I get the text that we just blew last year's number out of the water. Set a record. We set records this week for social media, by far. We set records for merchandise, by far. We set records for sponsorship, by far. And just destroyed records for gate. This was legitimately, on every metric, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. We had 72,755 in attendance tonight, for a total, no matter what Snoop Dogg says, of 145,298 fans across 2 days of WrestleMania. That does not include NXT. That does not include the World. That does not include any of that. And I'm just going to say it again because I'm digesting it. 145,298. And I don't know how to say it any more than that this was just the biggest WrestleMania of all time. And now that it's here and it's sort of over with, it's sort of all sinking into me, and it's kind of crazy to think about. I'll talk about the show a little bit. I thought last night's show was great. I thought it did exactly what it needed to do, which was set the table for tonight. That's a testament to the talent that were in it. It's a testament to the 72,000 plus fans that froze their ass off to enjoy it. Somebody said to me, "Well, this crowd seems a lot more lively." I was because they're not frozen. That is why. It certainly adds to the excitement level. But again, I thought last night set the table for tonight perfectly, and I thought that sort of everything we did tonight then delivered across the board. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre was just off the chart. When you create a new championship, whether people debate there's a lineage to it, not, whatever that is, however you want to look at it, you're creating a new championship. And I was thinking about this earlier today because this is the process I went through. I'm creating a new championship. How do I get that championship to be as big as it possibly can be? How do I make it mean everything that it can? How do I make it where everybody should want to win it? I give it to Seth frickin' Rollins and I let him go to work. That's it, right? And I just let him run with it. And you saw tonight what he did with it. Became this unbelievable symbol of success that Drew McIntyre was obsessed with winning almost as much as he was obsessed with CM Punk. And everything that he was saying about Seth Rollins, that you are obsessed with Cody's story and it will be your downfall, ended up being his downfall, his obsession with CM Punk. I will congratulate Drew McIntyre's on beating Seth Rollins and achieving a moment in front of 72,000 fans that he didn't get to do before, but actually creating a bigger moment in front of 72,000 fans than he would have created even if back then he had won it in front of a house full of people. The moment tonight was epic. And then I will put over Damian Priest for a performance that, as far as I'm concerned, sticks it up everybody's ass. That thought he was the biggest failure and the stupidest guy in the world for not cashing in all these times when he didn't, because he did it at the biggest WrestleMania of all time in an epic way. Congratulations to them. I want to congratulate Bayley. Bayley is like a foundation here for the women's division. See, I don't know that the women's division was all at Gorilla when she came up. I don't know that I've ever heard them louder, because they do that, they do that for everybody. But it was something different about when she walked up. It's just who she is as a performer. It's who she is as a human being. She's a foundation. And a lot of times because of that, she gets overlooked by people, right? She's just so steady and so good and so always there in the right place. You can count on her for anything. And because of that, sometimes she's not thought of in the same, echelon sometimes. And she is. She absolutely is. And I'm so happy that she's acknowledged for that tonight in front of this crowd and the biggest WrestleMania of all time. So very exciting. I congratulate Logan Paul on another epic outing. You get in the ring with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. You put on that kind of performance, whether you walk out as champion or you don't walk out as champion. What a performance. Like, just a guy that every single time he goes out there proves why his choice to be here in the WWE and not be doing the other things that he was doing before, to have sort of cemented himself as a WWE superstar. Man, he's so good. It's hard for me sometimes to sort of think about actually how good he is, given the fact that he's only done this a handful of times. It's crazy. And then Cody. Before I talk on Cody, let me talk about Roman. There's a lot of banter about, greatest of all time. And you can make arguments for a lot of people in that. And there's a lot of metrics that you could measure that by, or opinions, or whatever that is. If he is not he is one of, absolutely for certain, the greatest of all time. To do what he has done, to overcome all the things in his career and the positioning and the stuff that he had to get through and hung in there to get where he needed to be, to deal with his physical issues and his health issues, to overcome, to, the pandemic, to overcome, just everything that he has had to deal with on the way here. And then to go out there and put on a run like nobody has ever put on before, a run of just epic moments, epic storytelling. I see that word cinema thrown around a lot. But it really is. It's changed. There's few guys that come along in our business where you say during that period of time that they were in it, they changed the industry. He changed the industry. I mean that in front of the camera. I mean that behind the camera. He's changed the industry. He's that good. Can't say enough good stuff about him. And then to do what he did tonight with Cody Rhodes and complete that and it's not completing the story. It's just getting to the end of this chapter, because he's going to go on a whole new story now that is going to blow people's minds, I think. And I know he's going to take it to a whole nother level, but I can't tell you how much respect I have for Roman Reigns. And then Cody, the hardest thing I think in this business right now is to make a babyface, and to make a babyface that almost everybody likes, that people just aren't, booing because it's the right fun thing to do in the moment or whatever, like to buy into that story and be that guy. Cody's that guy, but he's not that guy because it was manufactured. He's that guy because he's just that guy. He's the right human being. He's the right person. He's everything you want to believe in. He's everything you want to get behind and see fight. It's all that. I'm so happy for him. And when you talk about overcoming things, he's got to go back and look at his career and the things he's done. He's forged his own path. He has done it all, and it's a testament to him and who he is as a person. He's never quit. He's never given up. When one road shut down, he went to another road. When that road shut down, he made his own road. But all of them, they led back here, and to where his dream always was. And man, without getting emotional about it, I could feel his dad today. I really could. I could feel how proud he was. I could feel him looking down. When I got in that ring with him, I could feel him out there with us. It was an incredible moment, not just as a performance, an incredible moment for a human being. And he means a lot to me. He means a lot to everybody here. And I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. And I know he's going to do amazing stuff now on this run. So super exciting. Tomorrow night last Monday we set a record for the largest gross in the history of domestic television for WWE. And that record will last till tomorrow, because we're about to smash it tomorrow night. It's already past it. And then also over the next few days, you're going to see our talent everywhere. And when we say we're taking WWE to a whole nother level, the amount of press, the amount of media appearances, the amount of coverage for WrestleMania, you're going to see our talent tomorrow on The Tonight Show. Pat McAfee's back at WWE World tomorrow. He's going to have the winners from tonight there, and he's also going to have John Cena as a guest tomorrow, which is epic. John's agreed to go on his show, so super exciting. Before I open it up to questions, I just wanted to cover off on one thing, because I keep hearing it. Paul Heyman started, well, he didn't start it, I suppose, but Paul Heyman made a big deal out of it on Friday night. The new era, talked about it being my era, all that. It's not my era. It's our era. When I say our, I mean everybody in WWE. The the people that endured, the people that hung in there, the people that trusted, the people that over the last year, whatever it's been, gave their sweat and tears to get to where we are, because somewhere along the way, they trusted a process that led them to remembering how much fun this is, how much of a privilege it is for us to be able to do it, how great this can be. We all started kind of in a similar place where we just thought this was the greatest form of entertainment in the world, and we wanted to do it and work our asses off at it and make fans all around the world, or make a product that they could all enjoy and that they could love again. And so it's, while people are throwing my name at the top of it, it's their era every bit as much as mine. I can't do this without all of them. I need them to do it. And two of the people at the very tippity top of that, one is new here, but has just been, no pun intended, a game changer. Lee Fitting. From a production standpoint, from what we're doing, from the look, the feel, all of it. You see changes happening every week on TV, and there's going to be more of them, but you see them, and I see people excited by them and just loving the changes that are made. But I'm telling you, there's so much more to come. Like, we made a conscious decision together to sort of, Lee, Nick, and myself, to slowly roll out some of those changes over time. There's a lot more coming. But when I tell you Lee Fitting, man, I love working with him. He has a passion for this just like we do. Might be new here, but man, he's all in. And for me, he's the kind of guy that I want to go to work for. I want to do stuff to make his job easier, and I want to collaborate with him, and I want to make things better with him. So I can't say enough good stuff about him. A lot of the change that you see and a lot of the success that you're seeing comes from Lee Fitting. And then Nick Khan. I can't even begin to describe the change that he's made here. And if you wanted to boil it all down to a spear tip, it should be, he should be mentioned in the top of that. It's his era too, because there's nobody right now. I don't even know how to say it. It's such an amazing partnership with a guy that I have so much respect for, that, man, it just clicks. And he's the biggest difference maker I've ever seen. And together, I can promise people, with everything else I just mentioned, with Lee, but with Nick at the top of it, there's no ceiling on this. We're going to take it places it's never been before. So I just want to thank those guys and say, when they say whatever era they want to call it, no, that's for you just as much as it is for me. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, goddamn, my wife looked good, right? She hadn't lost a step. Can't even tell you what I'm thinking right now. No. So great to have her back home, right? I get her home all the time, but like to have her back here, to see the doubt leave her by being here for the last few days, to see her confidence come back, and to know that this is her home. All of you, all of us, all of this business, it's her home. And as much as anybody on the planet, she belongs here. And hopefully she knows that now. So, happy to have her back. So before I say any other mushy crap, somebody ask a bad question.
Jeremy Clowney, GQ Sports. First, congratulations on an amazing night. What is it like seeing some of the biggest stars in the world come to WrestleMania? From Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, Jason Kelsey, George Kittle. This is almost like the Super Bowl, if not bigger. How does this feel?
It's amazing. I'm a big believer in if you build it right, they'll come. And that if it's entertaining, everybody will watch. It doesn't matter who they are. And I think you're at a place now where people grew up with this. You know, if you're, unfortunately for me, if you're of a certain age, you watch me. You watched our generation. Those people are now, they've moved up the line. Now those are the people that are the big stars, right? They were kids watching us, and now they're stars, and they love this, and they love what we do, and it's cool, and it's fun. And if we give them the product that they can enjoy and think is cool and have fun, which seems like we're doing right now because they're all here and they're coming out in droves, and that's awesome to see. The truth is, for me, there were 72,000 plus celebrities in that audience tonight because the biggest stars we have here, to me, and it's why you see sometimes some of these set designs getting smaller. We talk about it all the time. I don't want to showcase the newest technology in video boards or the newest technology in lasers or lights. I want to showcase the people that came to the show. So if we pack 15,000, 30,000, 72,000 into a building, I want to showcase all of them. And I want them to be loud, and I want them to go crazy, but I want to show the world every single one of them because they're the big stars here. So I'm happy that recognizable people are coming, but to me, the stars are every single person that buys a ticket and comes to our shows.
Hi, Kristen Clark with ageofthenerd.com. Back here.
Thank you. I don't know why I can never find the person that's talking.
All good. So, congratulations on an amazing WrestleMania. And the word innovation has been tossed around so much throughout this weekend. We saw a lot of it at this WrestleMania. Can you talk about or tease a little bit about what more innovation we're going to continue to see? I know you touched on some of that earlier with your comments.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. And one, thanks for noticing, I guess. Yeah, look, we're just trying new stuff and seeing what works and what doesn't. The stuff that doesn't work, all right, we just won't do that one again. The stuff that works, amazing. Let's not run it into the ground, but let's do some cool stuff. We're trying things. We're trying different camera angles. We're trying different shots. We're just, you know what we're doing? Having a right? And just, we talk about it all the time, all of us, Nick, Lee, myself, everybody, and the ideas are coming from everywhere. Now, it's amazing to me to go on the floor in the afternoon and have people that I've never heard say, hey, what if we tried this? And like, all right, let's try it and see where it goes and see what it does, right? I love having that and the ideas collaborating. I'd rather have all the ideas than a few of them, right? And then pick the ones we want to do and let's run with them. So they're coming from everywhere now. We're collaborating with everybody, and to me, that's what's going to make this special. And as far as innovation goes, I don't even think we've scratched the surface yet of the stuff that we're going to come out with in the next year or two. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And as The Rock would say, just enjoy the ride.
What's going on, legend?
Hey, man.
Listen, Evan Mack World's podcast. I'm sitting here with my wife, WrestleMania 40, my best friend, right? We're up here, you in my home state of Pennsylvania. And your lovely wife's music hits, right? And I'm watching my wife mark out. And your wife comes out, says, are you ready? She says it's the Triple H era. You just kind of said it's everybody's era. But as I watch you, and I watch this, and I don't know what era we're in, but Dan, what's it like being Triple H right now? How you feeling, brother?
I wasn't sure where you're going with all that. Yeah. It doesn't suck. You know what I mean? I'm loving what I do. That's the biggest thing for me. If when TKO went down and Ari Emanuel talked to me about this, I said, I just want to have fun. So if it's fun, I stay. If it's not, I'll go figure out something else. We're having fun. I want everybody here to have fun. Right when the signature was playing tonight, which, you like the new signature? That's pretty cool, right? A guy, Sicily, did it at the studio. He's amazing. When that was playing, I picked up my headset and I said, biggest thing we want to remember tonight, everybody, have fun. Enjoy this. If this is fun, everybody loves it. If we're having fun making it, you're going to have fun watching it. That's what I believe. So what's it like to be me right now? Pretty fun.
Mike Hoppinger, ESPN. Triple H, congrats on a great night. Earlier, Cody Rhodes said that after he walked through the back, he was presented with the same gold watch that his father, Dusty Rhodes, pawned off to send him to acting school by yourself, Nick Khan, and Bruce Pritchard. And obviously a touching moment for him. I'm just wondering, how did that all come about, if you can walk us through it?
I don't know, but Cody's a stooge, right? We want to do something special for him. It's a special night for him. The storyline thing, this finish the story. It's not a fabricated thing. It's real. Bruce was very close with Dusty. I was very close with Dusty. So I know what this means to Cody. I know what this business means to him. And as I said before, he's a right human being. So I don't know. It was Nick's idea. Nick had this amazing idea, and Bruce, just along for the ride a little bit. So Nick's idea, I thought it was great. Bruce went and, super sleuthed down this watch that was the exact same watch that Dusty had to present to Cody, and we just wanted to give him, something that in some way commemorated his dad being here when this happened, because he was.
One more question.
Bernard Collard, French journalist for Le Ten Sport. So my question is about Backlash. What are you feeling about the first premium live event in France? Can you explain the decision to go to Lyon? And are you already thinking to the future and maybe Paris Stadium in the future? Thank you.
So I didn't catch the second half of that. What was?
Are you already thinking to the future and maybe a Paris Stadium after Lyon?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, man, I'm excited to go to France. One thing I can tell you is when we go there for live events, everybody comes back and says, "You got to go to France. Right? We got to book a big event in France." It's what everybody says. I think we're gonna blow this one out. I think it'll be spectacular. I think that people will love it. I think the crowd in France is going to be off the chart good, and that is going that look. Everybody always says we want this, we want that, we want pay-per-views, we want WrestleMania. You know how you do it? Be the biggest, loudest crowd we've ever heard, and we put you on the list after that, right? And I think when we go to France, we will do an event there, and if France shows out and blows us away, then we will certainly be putting France on the checklist of we need to go back here in a bigger way very soon. So that's the name of that, man. For me, I can't wait to get there. So.
Paul, thank you so much.
No, that was it. I couldn't remember if he said that was the last one or not.
I knew you were thinking
or if
about
he said
it.
one more. I was waiting for the cue. Get the hook. Get him out of there. Thank you guys all for coming. Thank you for an amazing week. This has been a spectacular event, and I know all of you come here, one, to enjoy it, but two, to help spread the word of what WWE is. So thank you for that, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Well, that wraps up our WrestleMania press conference. Thank you to all of you for joining us for 2 incredible days of the biggest WrestleMania of all time. We will now see you tomorrow night live on the USA Network for Monday Night Raw. Good night from Philadelphia.
It's 5 a.m. I'm nihilist. I know there's nothing after this. Obsessing over aftermaths, apocalypse, and